Assalamu alaikum friends, this is Muhammad Ali Sumro with you with a new video. In this my video lecture, I will explain conditional sentences. Let's talk about first of all the definition of conditional sentence. A conditional sentence is a sentence that expresses a condition. A condition is something that can only happen if something else occurs. A conditional sentence contains an independent clause and a dependent clause that almost always begins with if. A conditional sentence is only a conditional sentence if it has both of these parts. Now, let's talk about types of conditional sentences. There are 4 types of conditional sentences. Number 1, zero conditional sentence. Number 2, first conditional sentence. Number 3, second conditional sentence. And number 4, third conditional sentence. Before going ahead, let's talk about the structure of conditional sentence. A conditional sentence is composed of 2 parts. Number 1, if clause. Number 2, main clause. If clause is called condition. Main clause is called result. So we can say if clause is called the conditional part of the sentence and main clause is called the result part of the sentence. In conditional clause, which is called the condition of the sentence, it is also called if clause. With this part of the sentence, we use the word if, and if changes the whole part of the sentence into condition. While if we talk about the main clause happens when the condition is met. Suppose, if it rains tomorrow, we will not go for visit. In the second sentence, if you work hard, you will pass your exam. In this sentence, there's a condition. If you work hard, the condition is working hard, then you can pass your exam. The both sentences talk about a real or very probable situation in the future. It refers to the things that will possibly happen in the future. Let's see the omission of comma. If clause takes place after the main clause, in this condition, the comma will be omitted. Here, I have given 2 sentences as an example. The first sentence starts with the conditional clause and the second sentence begins with the result clause. If the sentence begins with the conditional clause and then result clause, we need to use comma between 2 clauses. If the sentence starts with result clause and then conditional clause, then we don't need to put comma to separate both clauses. Suppose, if it rains tomorrow, comma, we will not go for visit. Here I have used comma between 2 clauses between conditional and result clause. In the second example, we will not go for visit if it rains tomorrow. Here in this sentence, I have not used comma because the sentence began with the result clause and then conditional clause. One can separate both parts of a sentence using conjunction between the conditional clause and result clause, but the place of the comma will remain the same. Let's talk about zero conditional type 1. Zero conditional sentences are used for facts that are generally true and do not change. It refers to a general situation that always happens if a condition is met. Now, we have certain examples of zero conditional. Again, we have if clause and main clause. If clause is called conditional part and the main clause is called the result part of the sentence. The structure of if clause is if plus present simple, and the structure of main clause is present simple. Here, I have given 3 examples of zero conditional. Let's see. If you freeze water, it turns into ice. In this sentence, we have 2 parts of the sentence. One is called if clause, second is called main clause. In if clause, we have the condition. The condition is that if you freeze water. In the main clause, we have result. It turns into ice. Let's see the second example. If you put ice in the sun, it melts. Here in this sentence we have two parts. One is called if clause and second is called again when clause. In if clause we have the condition. The condition is that if you put ice in the sun. In the when clause we have the result, it melts. Now we have third example. If it rains, the grass gets wet. Here in this sentence we have two parts. One is called if clause and second is called when clause. In if clause again we have the condition. In when clause again we have the result. In if clause we have the condition if it rains. In the when clause we have the result, the grass gets wet. These are all examples of zero conditional sentences. And these zero conditional sentences talk about the facts that are generally true and one cannot change it. Let's talk about the first conditional type 2. The first conditional is used to express a real or very probable situation in the future. It refers to things that will possibly happen in the future if condition is met. The first conditional is common when we are talking about possible plans, promises, warnings, threats, or persuading someone. Now we have the examples of first conditional. As I explained, conditional sentence has two parts. One is called if clause and second is called when clause. In if clause we have the condition and in when clause we have the result. Let's see the structure of first conditional sentence. In if clause we have if plus present simple, while in the when clause we have future simple. Remember one thing, in if clause we have present simple and in when clause we have future simple. We have certain examples. Number one, if you work hard, you will succeed. In this sentence we have two parts. First part is called the conditional part. It is called the if clause. And the second part of the sentence is called when clause. We can say this is called the result clause. The condition is that if you work hard, and result is that you will succeed. If you work hard, you will succeed. Second sentence, if I go to UK, I will buy you a gift. Here the condition is if I go to UK. The result is then I will buy you a gift. It means the gift will be bought after going to UK. This is the condition. Condition is going to UK. Let's see third example. If I have time tomorrow, I will help you. Here the condition is that if I have time, then I will help you. So complete sentence, if I have time tomorrow, I will help you. The condition is for timing and after getting time, I will help you. These all sentences express a real or very probable situation in the future. It refers to things that will possibly happen in the future if condition is met. The second conditional is used for imaginary situation in the present or future. Let's see second conditional examples. Again we have if clause and when clause. In if clause we have the condition and in when clause we have the result. The structure of if clause is if plus past simple and the structure of result clause is would plus verb first form. Here we use would and with the would we use the first form of the verb. Let's see the first example. If I earned more money, I would buy a new car. Here we have again two parts of the sentence. First is called if clause. In if clause we have the condition. The condition is that if I earn more money. And then we have the when clause. In when clause we have the result. I would buy a new car. So complete sentence is if I earn more money, I would buy a new car. Let's see the second example. If the weather was good, we would go to the beach. Here in the first part of the sentence, we have the condition, if the weather was good. And in the second part, we have the result, we would go to the beach. So complete sentence is that, if the weather was good, we would go to the beach. So first part of the sentence is called if clause and it is condition. And second part of the sentence is called when clause, that is called result. Let's see the third example. if he won the prize bond, he would construct home. Here, in the first part of the sentence, we have the condition. The condition is that if he won the prize bond. And second part is called result part. In the result part, he would construct home. It means if the condition meets, the result happens. So complete sentence is that if he won the prize bond, he would construct home. All these sentences talk about hypothetical, unreal, unlikely situation in the present or in the future. Now, let's talk about third conditional type 4. The third conditional is used to talk about an imaginary condition and its probable result in the past. The third conditional is used for imagining different past that did not happen. Now we have certain examples of third conditional. Again, we have if clause and when clause. There are two parts of a sentence. If clause is called the condition and the when clause is called the result. Now let's see the structure of third conditional. The structure of if clause is if plus past perfect. And the structure of when clause is would have plus verb third form. Now let's see examples. If you had studied, you would have passed the exam. In this sentence we have two parts, if clause and when clause. In if clause we have the condition. The condition is that if you had studied. In the when clause we have the result. You would have passed the exam. The complete sentence is that if you had studied, you would have passed the exam. Let's see the second example. If she had taken medicine, she wouldn't have felt sick. We have two parts of the sentence. One is called if clause and second when clause. In if clause we have the condition. The condition is that if she had taken medicine. And in the result clause, the result is that she wouldn't have felt sick. So the complete sentence is that if she had taken medicine, she wouldn't have felt sick. Let's see the third example of third conditional. If I had worked harder, I would have earned name. In this sentence we have two parts. One is called if clause, second is called when clause. In if clause we have the condition. The condition is that if I had worked harder. In the when clause there is a result. I would have earned name. So the complete sentence is that if I had worked harder, I would have earned name. These all sentences are used for imagining different past, the past that did not happen. Now we have reached a conclusion slide. In this slide, I will conclude by repeating all the structures of conditional sentences. The structure of zero conditional type 1 is if plus present simple. Here in if clause we use if plus present simple. And in the result clause, when clause, again we use the present simple as well. Means we use present simple two times with the if clause and the result clause. And this zero conditional sentence talks about facts that are generally true and do not change. Now we have the second structure of first conditional type 2. Here in if clause we have if plus present simple. This is the structure of if clause, conditional clause. And the structure of when clause, result clause is future simple. It means with the if clause we use present simple and with the result clause we use future simple. And this conditional sentence is used to express a real or very probable situation in the future. And it refers to things that will possibly happen in the future if condition is met. Now let's see the second conditional type 3. The structure of second conditional type 3 is if plus past simple. This is the structure of if clause. Here's the condition. And the structure of result clause, when clause is would plus verb first form. It means with the if clause we use past simple and with the when clause, in the when clause we use would plus verb first form. This second conditional sentence type 3 talks about the hypothetical, unlikely, unreal situation in the present or future. Now let's talk about the last structure of third conditional type 4. The structure of if clause is if plus past perfect, and the structure of main clause is would have plus verb third form. It means the complete structure is if plus past perfect condition, and the result would have plus verb third form. The third conditional sentence is used to talk about an imaginary condition and its probable result in the past. Thanks for watching. I hope so you must have understood the conditional sentences.